Shalom, Yasharala. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here lesson, which is, you can see it on the screen here, dealing with getting closer to World War III, and actually, it's funny, all in the spirit. The brother actually sent me these same articles, just knowing the spirit, but nevertheless, touching on these things, hey, I did a video the other day dealing with, wars and rumors of wars still bubbling in the background, man. All right, so now you're starting to see, and it's funny because you actually hear a lot of so-called war news on war and things like that when it gets closer to the end of the year. You always have, so-called build-ups or whatnot, at the end of the year. It's always higher threats of so-called World War III and things going on like this and that, And with this year being heavily overshadowed by a lot of other things, it started out with the Iranian General Qasem Soleimani being killed, all right, the airstrike in Syria, all right. Then all of a sudden you had so forth, the global economic meltdown and all these other things going on, all right. But still in the background, because I remember reporting on this when Turkey had already made this here purchase from Russia, all right, the S-400, and then, America was tripping over that, and then they finally took possession of it, all right, and now you have Turkey over here test firing it, man, all right, and they wound up telling America they was going to do this before they even did it, they test fired it or whatnot, and now America's upset with that. That's another story that's in the news today. Yep, this is one of the other stories which is in the news today. It says Erdogan confirms test of Russian-made S-400 missile system, says Turkey not concerned objections of American NATO allies, all right, which is going into the spirit part of this lesson, the beast shall hate the whore, all right, because Turkey is part of NATO, all right, that's one of these other, this is why we sometimes say NATO and the EU, all right, because there is a slight little difference. Not every nation that's in NATO is a part of the EU. For instance, Turkey is not part of the European Union, but they are a part of NATO. Same with America. America is not part of the EU, but they're part of NATO, right? But nevertheless, Turkey also plays a part in developing pieces and technology for the F-35 as part of like the cockpit, the heads-up display, and so on and so forth. Now after they wound up taking delivery of this S-400 system, America threatened them with sanctions and all this and that, and kicking them out of the F-35 program. And which in this article they said they was gonna kicked them out, but I believe that they brought them back in. They took the sanctions off of them, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth. Because I think that they put sanctions on them, and then Turkey wound up hitting America back with sanctions, and they just called it all off, But nevertheless, I'm gonna just skim through this a little bit. It says Turkey test of its Russian-made S-400 defense system violates an Ankara commitment to NATO and may hamper its security relations with the U.S., the Pentagon said after President Recep Tayyip Erdogan confirms the drills. The U.S. Department of Defense condemns in the strongest possible terms the S-400 test, all right, in which, every time I speak about this S-400, especially with Turkey, one of the major reasons that America don't want none of their allies to have this S-400 is because of part of the, the technology that's in it, more or less to say, all right? Now, this is like a missile defense system, or not really just a missile defense system. This one here is different from the S-300 in different ways, Part of it is within the radar and the scanning portions of it, all right? So you have to understand the F-35, which is America's latest, I think it's their 5th generation fighter jet, which is their that's their prized possession, all right? Now, this thing is a stealth fighter, whatnot, and it's flawed with all these different problems because in this new generation of fighter jets, they're trying to get to be able to use AI technology, all right? Now, also, they have like these other, we call these little like missile type things that they can shoot out, and then it'll show up on radar as multiple planes or whatnot, which helps this plane fight in stealth mode, whereas they're not going to be able to pick them up on radar because before you see the plane, they can be able to pick it up on radar and know that you're coming, right? But however, this S-400 has for one, it has an even longer range, for one, that it can pick up incoming missiles and whatnot and fire off, defenses against those missiles, but it can actually see the S-400 or it can actually see the F-35, all right? This is, now, if you understand why when we were over there bombing in Syria, all right, and we was going over there trying to take out what your boy name is, Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela, all right, they want to put those S-300s out there, which isn't as sophisticated as the S-400 system. They put them over there, and you don't hear nothing else about ISIS. You don't hear nothing else about Syria. All right, you very rarely hear about them over there in Venezuela anymore, which they still got the same plan. They still trying to take him out and put up that one dude, Juan Guaido, which he claimed he was the president like 2 years ago, but he still, ain't took position, But nevertheless, see, these S-300s, which is an older system, stops the F-35s from coming over here. And whoever in military has air superiority pretty much is going to dominate the battlefield, all right? So this S-400 system, if you was to turn the S-400 on with the F-35 sitting right beside it, it'll be able to scan the computer systems on this F-35 and make the damn F-35 obsolete. It'll be able to understand all of its capabilities and how it works and everything else like that, man. So this is why America is so pissed about this, because it's like, damn, bro, we done put all this money into this to have this so-called top secret airplane. Nobody know about our technology and everything. But if you turn this damn thing on beside our damn plane, it's going to expose all our damn secrets to our main enemy, who is Russia, who is providing you with these things, man. How are we going to fight against somebody and they know all our secret weapons and secret tactics and things like that, man? All right. So let me see. There was another but nevertheless, I pretty much just all explained this whole article right then and there, going into why it's important and everything like that. But nevertheless, it's heating back up again, Now let me touch on this other article, which so here it is. Here's another one. Israel will not oppose U.S. UAE deal. They're trying to basically sell weapons to Qatar, which some of these are Israeli enemies or whatever, whatnot, but they're going to reassure them that they're not going to use them against it. Now, here's another one, right? It says, Russia-China military alliance will be a bulwark against America's global imperialism. Is it time for Washington to panic, all right? Because, see, the global imperialism, this is that national security, all right? National security, they're not talking about protecting the homeland, but protecting their position as the top dog on the planet Earth, all right? Because, see, America with its allies and, the beast, or the horde that's riding upon the beast, which the beast would be all of America's allies, NATO and the EU, all right? They control every damn thing, right? But if America alone can't stand against these other nations, that they come in a conglomeration, so now you're starting to see the other side being built back up, all right? Going into Ezekiel 38, which we'll touch briefly on that as well, too. But there's this one here, second paragraph. Just over 70 years ago, let me read the first two paragraphs. First three, it says, or let me read from here. It says, just over 70 years ago, Stalin and Mao, all right, Stalin was in Russia and Mao was in China. This is who was in power, basically, Winston Churchill. These are the people that was in power that was in World War II, more or less to say, right? So it says, Stalin and Mao haggled in Moscow to create a short-lived Sino-Soviet treaty. With China Communist Revolution still fresh, Beijing turned to the Soviet Union for economic and military support in securing its new state. Ideologically on the same page, the two powers had a common enemy, the United States and its allies, all right? And this was the point and the purpose that they so-called formed NATO, all right? But see, this whole alliance in the USSR and all that is gone now, and they still pushing for NATO. And then NATO, Russia and them is still seeing like, damn, y'all still coming closer to us, surrounding us. Like, we didn't let our guards down and y'all still approaching us. It says, by securing friendship with China, Stalin ultimately hoped to tilt the balance of the Cold War away from Europe into Asia, giving him a strategic advantage over NATO. History may be about to repeat itself, like the scripture said. There's nothing new under the sun. Russian President Vladimir Putin yesterday commented that he could not rule out a potential military alliance between Moscow and Beijing, although he observed such a bonding was not a current necessary. He noted, theoretically, it's quite possible to imagine, and that without any doubt, our cooperation with China is bolstering the defense capability of China's army. And time will show how it will develop and won't exclude it. Now, if you understand about these other nations and whatever, whatnot, they're creating a block to basically, cut America out, because America is number one in every damn thing as far as the military power on the earth, the military supplier of the earth. All right, the person that's in control of all the damn oil and everything like that, because you got to understand the petrodollar. Yeah, you can be like, oh, Saudi Arabia got all the oil. Well, yeah, but you got to understand the petrodollar and everything like that. So America's controlling them with these things like that, and so on and so forth. So America's at the top of everything. So you have things like these nations decided to come together and create what they call the BRICS nations, all right, which, not going too much into it. I think it's Brazil, Russia, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Is it India or Iran? One of the two. But nevertheless, these nations are trying to, how do you say, fill the void if America was to fall as far as being the petro leaders, because they got the petrodollar. So they're trying to put a different side to that, right? You also have China that's, coming out with the petro yuan, because and these digital currencies now. Just a couple of days ago, everybody was trying to launch their digital currencies and everything like that, See, China's trying to be an economic a replacement for America. Russia's trying to also be a energy replacement for America. This is where you have like the Nord Stream 2 pipeline debacle going on between Russia and Europe and things like that. They want to sell this how you call it, natural resources to them and everything like that at a cheaper price for better quality, and it's going to get there a lot quicker than trying to get it from or getting it through America, But nevertheless, and these nations don't see a need to have NATO around when it's just like the NATO members, when it's just basically bankrupting them and they're not getting any benefits out of it. All right. So basically going into these things is forcing all these people to turn to Russia, All right, we got to find us a different person, It's like, your main supplier of your goods. All right, they keep upping the price, upping the price, upping the price. Here you go, you selling sodas, they 25 cents, you get them for 25 cents, you sell them for 50 cents, right? And all the stores, and they all on the shelf for 25 cents, 24 cents, 23 cents, 26 cents. It's only a penny in between, the margin. But now your supplier is like, all right, well, look, now the soda's going to cost you 50 cents per can. All right. And you're going to, the Coca-Cola going to be diluted. It's not the same Coca-Cola that y'all used to. We're like, well, wait a minute. You're going to change the formula up, charges double. And in the store, it's only 25 to 26 cents. How are we going to pay 50 cents and expect to make a profit? We're going to just go out of business doing this. Well, we can go get Coca-Cola from a different person. All right. Well, we're going to just go buy from them instead of you. And so America's all, got their panties in a bunch over that, But this is all leading us into prophecy, man. All right. Jumping into the scriptures real quick. We're going to go. Oh, well, we can start. Oh, it's right there. We can go here in Matthew 24 real quick. Matthew 24 and 6. What just happened? It says, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled. See, these are the signs of let me read verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, tell us, what shall be these things, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? Because we got to be thinking about the newcoming brothers that's coming into this, somebody freshly seeing these things, But nevertheless, verse 6 says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. All right, so what? You're going to hear of wars and rumors of wars. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes and all in diverse places, and all these are the beginning of sorrows. So you're starting to see these nations starting to rise up against other nations, and they're making these different treaties, these different pacts, so on and so forth. America's allies are starting to look at them a little different and everything like that, man. All right, let's touch on that real quick. Let's go to Revelation 17, and I think it's verse 17. Nope, verse 16, right? So let me start at verse 12. All right. Let me jump up to the top, actually. This is okay, this is verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit and in the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So I wanted to read that again, thinking about the newcoming brothers coming into this. So, you may have heard about this, the mystery horde, Babylon, and so on and so forth, is this horde that's riding upon a beast, right? So now you think about this, you got a horse and a horse rider, right? The horse rider is controlling the horse wherever he's going. So a representation, the beast would be the horse, the whore would be the horse rider, right? So America would be that whore or the horse rider that's riding on top of the beast or the horse, which is NATO and the EU, all right, controlling them where they're going to go. Just like when at the September 11th, George Bush went over into wanted to go over into the Middle East and everything like that, but his allies didn't want to go. But he went anyway, and guess what happened? The beast followed wherever the whore was steering them to, Verse 10. It's a lot. Let me jump down, just getting to the point. Verse 16. All right, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, all right, which these are different nations, all right. These shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. All right, so this is going into America's allies, all right, mainly NATO and the EU, all right. Let me grab another precept to back that up. Obadiah 1:7. This is talking about NATO and the EU, all right. They're going to wind up turning on America, turning on their own ally, and wind up taking her out of power. And again, you starting to see these things starting to boil up. You know, there's Trump came in, so we need to get rid of NATO. We need to have them pay more and so on and so forth. And he's dissing these other nations and calling them dumb and everything. And their own allies, man, making deals that don't really benefit them or put them in hard spots or try to put sanctions on them, man. Like, yo, if you want to deal with these nations, we're going to put sanctions on you. Or if you want to take this here natural energy from Russia, we're going to put sanctions on you. You know, that's dealing with Germany and, really Europe, because they want to get this here oil out the Nord Stream 2 pipeline from Russia. But America is trying to hold that all up, man. All right, Germany and France want to develop their own damn plane, have a what they call a German-Franco partnership where they develop their own fighter jet. But nope, you got to buy this F-35, man. A messed up F-35 at that. Like, why would we want to buy some bootleg ass shit that don't work when we can go build our own shit, man? But nevertheless, America will put sanctions on you over these things, which is making them be upset, All right, so this is Obadiah 1:7. And all the men of thy confederacy, all right, these people that they're in conglomeration with their allies with, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border, all right? So you have people like Turkey, all right, is pissing America off, the Pentagon off and whatever, whatnot, because they're procuring this here S-400 and testing it or whatever, whatnot. Now, America can't trust them, right? And so on and so forth. So what? These are the men that was a confederacy. Salakia, give me 1 second. These are the men that was in confederacy with America, man. They're allies. It says, all the men of that confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Brought you on out to war, man. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. See, Turkey was, they was an American ally. They was helping America build this F-35, man. All right. But nevertheless, and going further into that F-35, the F-35 is more than just a damn plane. What's more important about that to America is the system that it provides. All right. Because these planes can communicate with one another and it expands their radar and everything else with that. So, it's not just America. If America had the F-35, Germany had their own plane, Turkey had their own type of plane, Britain had their own plane, Israel had their own plane, you would have differences in these different planes. But nevertheless, like for instance, let's say America's flying one of their F-35s over there, and they flying, in the same vicinity of a German flying the same F-35 and a Turkish man flying F-35, right? But these are, their own, they've been given these F-35s or whatever, whatnot, And let's say they out there flying or whatever, whatnot, and somebody was to fire off at let's say Turkey, Turkey's F-35, and all of a sudden the American plane, their radar could pick it up and automatically just fire off a missile without even the pilot doing anything about it. It'll just fire off to take care of that other plane because it's being attacked as one big unit, So this is why America really wants all their allies to have this same damn plane, man, because it's like having one huge plane up in the sky, one huge radar. The more planes, the more... it's like your Wi-Fi in the house. You got your Wi-Fi and your Wi-Fi router. Well, then you got the little Wi-Fi extender. If you got low range, you can go get a little extender, plug that bitch into the wall. Now your radius is a lot further and further and further. So technically, one person on the block could get Wi-Fi in their house and then have the neighbors keep getting these extenders. And you can have one person paying for Wi-Fi and the whole block can use the internet if everybody just plug in this little thing. You see what I'm saying? So that's the importance to America to having this damn plane, man, or all their allies having a plane. But guess what? It's going to turn on them. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. And they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there's no understanding in him. So going into eating that bread, the people, like food, it sustains you, right? The people that was being sustained by you, that you was taking care of, they going to want to turn it on you, man. All right? You was being a guard, for instance, unto, so-called to Turkey and all them, your NATO allies or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? If they was to take, your so-called Babylon juice. All right, but nevertheless, now all of a sudden you're gonna want to turn on. Well, you can't really turn on Turkey because why? They know some of your information about this F-35 anyway. They help you build, some of the components inside of it, And what? You're gonna start losing some of these people. That's gonna make your system somewhat obsolete. Again, imagine you got these Wi-Fi extenders or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to go to the one dude who actually is paying for the internet, go cuss him out, and he cut everybody off. Then none of us got the internet, man. All right, so this is what America is pretty much stuck between a rock and a hard spot. But this is all prophecy coming to pass, man. All right, let's go to Ezekiel 38. Ezekiel 38 talks starting in verse 2. Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Going back into, like we was reading in that article about China and Russia, going back, history may repeat itself. The Sino-Soviet alliance, Well, this is what's going back. First of all, going back to that Soviet Union, this is what it means: I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, all right, and bring thee forth and all thy army. Because see, that was at that point in time, you had major, multiple superpowers on the face of the earth. At that point in time, you had Germany, you had Russia, you had China, and then you basically had what was it, Britain, like the UK type shit, the United Kingdom, all right. But at that same point in time, all right, what you had happen was, basically everybody ganged up on Germany and took Germany out. Russia didn't know, Joe Stalin didn't know if he could trust Hitler or not. So he wound up going and invading. This is pretty much what, he was fighting wars on both ends. But nevertheless, Russia wound up turning on Germany. All right, so Germany got taken out of the picture. All right, and then when America stepped up and dropped that damn atomic bomb, that pretty much knocked out the UK, all right, and put America up over top of them. All right, and China, again, that fresh little Soviet Union, China's been like a third world country for a long ass time. They just recently started coming back out. All right, now Russia was still there. At the end of World War II, Russia and America wound up splitting Germany's stockpile. This is why they're the two most advanced nations when it came to military might. All right, now they went up in and took over Germany, East and West Germany, and they put up that wall or whatever, whatnot, and so on and so forth. Well, who was that? Reagan and Gorbachev to like take down this here wall or whatever, whatnot, That was basically the end of the Cold War. You had what's his boy name was? JFK and all them, and the whole situation with Cuba and all of that stuff, right? But now all of a sudden they wound up breaking up this deal, or brokering a deal which broke up the USSR, the Soviet Union, all right, and basically turned Russia into what you would know of as Russia. Then you had these other nations, what was that? Like Romania, Latvia, and all those different nations over there. They became their own nations, all right? But nevertheless, Russia fell into a third world country. Their infrastructure, their military, everything wound up collapsing over there. Vladimir Putin got into office, and this is when you're starting to see the hooks being put into their jaws, man. Their infrastructure started coming back. Their economy started coming back. They started trading internationally with these other nations. Their weapons started being highly developed, man. They got the Satan 1 and Satan 2, which is the most advanced thermonuclear missile that there is on the face of the earth. They got nuclear-powered cruise missiles, all right, with the unlimited fuel range. They can fly forever for the next 50 to 100 years in the air. And then they can also change course, mid-air. So you can't really hit them with your missile defense systems, man. They got hypersonic missiles, all right. They got all these different things, man. All right, now they got the S-300, which is still a pretty badass system, even though it's really old. All right, they got the S-400 system, which is another really old system, but I mean, it's really the most current one that they really need comparably to the opposition, because the F-35 is like, these are the most current fighter jets, you know what I'm saying? And if the S-400 can pretty much make that damn plane obsolete, they don't need nothing higher than that, which Russia's got the S-500 already in development, all right? But they also have like a S-67 and 900, or yeah, S-900 as well too, which they saying with that, they can pretty much hit nuclear missiles in the ground silos anywhere around the earth, man, before they even take off, man. That's how long range these things are going to be, man. But they don't really have those in production like that right now. But nevertheless, the S-500 Prometheus system is a pretty badass system, which that's also in development. But when you go into these situations, man, Russia's now selling. Let me read the next couple verses. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, with them, all of them with shields and helmet. So as I was reading through this, you keep seeing how they keep talking about armor, shields, helmets, and things like that, man. All right, this is going into, because Russia has a lot of offensive weapons that renders everybody else shit obsolete, and that's the top of the chain right now. All right, but they're not really selling nobody the Satan 1 and Satan 2 thermonuclear missiles. They're not selling nobody the Avangard hypersonic missile, the nuclear-powered cruise. They're not selling those to anybody like that, man. But what they are selling to the people are the S-300s, the S-400 missile defense systems. All right, these are the new school shields and things like that, man. All right, just like when you see in the movie 300, when they talking about some our arrows will blot out the skies or whatever, the sun or whatever, whatnot, and then the dude's response was, well, we'll fight in the shade. And when it actually came to play, they started shooting off those arrows, and as all those arrows was come arching down on them in an arching fashion to come rain down on them from the heavens. All right, what did they do? They took cover behind their shields. All right, they put the shields up and the arrows was hitting the shields that was blocking, the arrows from coming through and penetrating the human in their skin. All right, when you fast forward till today, well, what's a long range weapon that they use? The bow and arrow. This is why they talk about those arrows like that in the scriptures, because that's the modern day bow and arrow, man. All right, a long range weapon that you can shoot from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth, man. All right, but what? Now you don't have, you try to go out there like them dudes in 300 and stop a regular missile coming in, or try to stop a bullet with a damn shield like they had in 300, man. Your ass gonna get ate up, let alone a damn missile. All right, but the thing that they use nowadays is what? These missile defense system. America has what? The THAAD system. What is that? The thermal high altitude, something like that. They have the THAAD system. Then they have the Patriot system. All right, which these are basically the same thing, but it's an older system. They got these from Germany. That when they had way back in the day. These are the same as old systems. And which a lot of America's allies don't really like these systems because they cost like 2 to 3 times the price of the S-400, which the S-400 is way newer than the THAAD and the Patriot system. Those are some old ass systems. All right, but nevertheless, it costs 2 to 3 times more. The accuracy of them shits is horrible, man. They don't really have a good accuracy on those things, man. All right, and really none of these types of systems have ever really been used in an actual combat setting, right, to where they can actually take the test them out against fighter jets and incoming missiles. So they ain't really been used. All right, nevertheless, the only ones that they've been able to use is they call it something different. They call it the Iron Dome system over in Israel, which is the same shit as like the THAAD and the Patriot system. All right, they have the Iron Dome system and what's the other one called? Was it Joshua Sling or David Sling or something like that? I think it's David Sling, which is the same shit. But the only way they really testing that is when Israel themselves shoot rockets from basically, they talk about from Palestine. Like, bro, that's inside your border, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's not even like outside of you. You could throw a rock over there, bro. You know what I'm saying? So they ain't really tested this here system, all right? But nevertheless, in the test, they fail horribly, all right? But Russia is selling these weapons to all these other nations, And it says Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmet, Gomer and all his bands in the house of Tomargah of the north quarters and all his bands and many people with them. It says, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. And this is what you start to see happen. So again, going back to that first article dealing with the Chinese and Russian alliance that they talking about, it could happen or whatever, whatnot, Scripture says no new thing under the sun, they tell them history may repeat itself. Well, we know according to the prophecies what's going to happen, man. All right, all these nations are going to band together against America, man, and end all be all, man. All right, those that was at peace with thee, those that ate your bread, that was in confederacy with thee, all right, they shall burn her flesh with fire, Does the other one go? The men that was at peace with thee that eat thy bread, they brought you to the border. They have deceived thee. America's own allies are going to be the ones that turn it on them, man. And you seeing in the news and these prophecies all starting to line up back to back to back to back, man. So we know what time we're in, man. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth, never will. And citation and much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So next time I say, stay strong. Shalom.